In Mark chapter 10, beginning with verse 46, we read, "And they came to Jericho. And as he was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a great crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, 'Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me.' And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he cried out all the more, 'Son of David, have mercy on me.' And Jesus stopped and said, 'Call him.' And they called the blind man, saying to him, 'Take heart, get up. He is calling you.' And throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, 'What do you want me to do for you?' And the blind man said to him, 'Rabbi, let me recover my sight.' And Jesus said to him, 'Go your way. Your faith has made you well.' And immediately he recovered his sight and followed him on the way." Do you know where Jesus was on the way to? At this juncture in Mark's gospel, we know he's on the way to Jerusalem, where he'll be betrayed by his people's leaders and murdered on the cross. Yet even knowing that Jesus was on the way to fulfill the mission for which God had sent him, he still stopped. He still stopped to show mercy to a blind man. Even as those around told Bartimaeus, "Just be quiet, don't bother him." Not understanding what Jesus was going to do, but thinking it was far more important than helping this guy, Jesus stopped because Bartimaeus didn't stop asking. He continued to cry out. He wouldn't let anyone hold him back from seeking Jesus. He trusted that if he could just be near Jesus, Jesus would provide what he needed to be made well. Isn't it interesting? We don't know the names of many of the people that Jesus healed, even when their stories are recorded here in Scripture. But we know Bartimaeus's because he kept calling to Jesus, and Jesus stopped. Jesus met him there. Jesus healed him as that faith, that loyalty, that persistent seeking of Jesus that he showed led to him being made well. That's the kind of follower of Jesus we want to be. Instead of being people with a very loose relationship with Jesus, where the smallest things can get in the way, we should be people that persist, that don't let anything come between us and Jesus, confident that if we just get near him, if we just get closer to him, he will make things better, that he will stop, meet us where we are, and provide the mercy that we need to be made well. But then there's something else that Bartimaeus did that I find also noteworthy, something that would change his life forever. Because as Jesus was on the way, as he made Bartimaeus well, the man then chose, having received mercy as his sight was restored to him, he chose to follow Jesus where he was going. Now, undoubtedly, that meant in the days ahead, he was going to face difficulty. He was going to see hard things with that sight Jesus had provided as Jesus was betrayed and crucified in Jerusalem. But Bartimaeus recognized that if Jesus would stop and show him mercy, Jesus was somebody worth following. And there's a challenge for that in us too. We don't want to be people that just cry out to Jesus to provide what we need, but then continue to go our own way. We need to trust that if he cares enough to stop, if he cares enough to meet us where we are, if he cares enough to show us mercy and help with those things that bother us, those things that hold us back, those things that keep us from experiencing life the way God intends, then he's somebody who's worth following, that wherever he leads, even if it leads us into times of trial and difficulty, it's going to be worth it. So as we glimpse Jesus through Bartimaeus' eyes in this account. Let's be people who, like him, persist in calling out to Jesus. Let's be people who follow him as we experience his mercy wherever he may lead.